Welcome to Rico 12. I'm Justin B., your host, and a child of an all-powerful and perfectly loving God, and an addict living in the miracle of recovery one day at a time. Rico 12 is an open to all addictions and afflictions organization dedicated to exploring the common threads of the differing manifestations of alcoholism, sharing tools, and offering hope from those walking a similar path. We gather from diverse backgrounds, faiths, and locations to learn and support one another. Our speakers come from various fellowships and experiences demonstrating the universal principles of recovery. Rico 12 is not allied or affiliated with any specific 12-step fellowship. This is Rico 12 Speaker Meeting 382. Thank you for joining us live or in the recording later. Today's speaker is MarLa B., a first-time Rico 12 speaker, and her talk today is entitled, "The Liar is Trying to Kill Me." I look forward to hearing more about this message in a few minutes, but first for a few quick announcements and items of business. Rico 12 offers a variety of recovery resources, including podcasts and social media communities. To explore more, learn more, visit us at rico12.com. That's RECO12, like recovery, 12step.com, or check the chat and show notes for links. We're still seeking some seekers for the rest of the year. So if you or someone you know has a topic that's just weighing on you, that's like, I need to get this out and share for 20 to 25 minutes on it, reach out to me at rico12pod@gmail.com and we'll get things lined up. Rico 12 is self-supporting, and your contributions help us continue this message. Thank you so much to all our Spearhead donors, past and present. This week, thank you so much to Karis and Brandon for your donations. If you out there feel your higher power nudging you to make a contribution to Rico 12, the information on how to do that will be in the chat and the show notes and on the website at rico12.com/support. Your support, both financially, but especially by word of mouth, truly makes a difference in helping us share these messages of hope and recovery. Speaking of hope, each week we receive light and inspiration from our speakers. Their experience brings hope, meaning, worth, and growth to us as listeners. Now I'm going to welcome today's guest speaker, MarLa B. Here's a little bit about her. MarLa works steps 10, 11, and 12 every day, or else she is sucked back into the cycle of addiction. A member of SLAA, CODA, and DA, MarLa has been in the rooms of recovery since December of 2023. She loves to muck up the big book, work with others, and carry the message that there is a solution and a power that can solve all our problems. Take it away, MarLa. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Justin. And hello, everybody on the live call. And hello to everybody listening on the podcast. My name is MarLa, and I am addicted to people, money, sugar, weed, and alcohol. And I have very good news. God removes my desire to pick up these things, my desire to fix other people, my desire to overspend and under-earn, and my desire to run the show if I work these steps every day and if I carry these principles into all of my affairs. So my recovery is conditional. I have to do the work. It really is my great pleasure to be here today because I have been listening to this podcast for over a year, and it has helped me so much feel that I belong here, to understand other people's stories, and to be able to stay committed to working this program. So I'm really delighted that I get to be here today. And Justin, your work is incredible, truly. So thank you for all the time that you do to make this message available to so many people. So before I tell you about how I got here and how recovery has restored my sanity, and it really does help me be an agent of God, and happily, it seems as though I am a useful member in this fellowship, I want to tell you, first of all, that we are not a glum lot, right? Page 132. And I have a lot of fun, and I want to have some fun here today. And feel free to ask me more later about how I like to have fun in the program. And obviously, I'm already trying to run the show. I'm like dropping hints. Justin, ask me that question later, right? So here we go. Okay. I want to briefly tell you about my life as an untreated sex and love addict and codependent nincompoop. Okay. Because I was nuts. So here we go. I could not differentiate the true from the false. My addict life really was my only normal one. It was normal, totally normal for me to lie, plot, manipulate, cheat, mask, minimize, blame, rage, crash, and burn, and rinse and repeat. So I did this from the time I was 4 years old until I was 38 years old when I found this program. It was normal for me to be completely embroiled in drama. It was the source, actually, of all of my energy and my entire identity. So I was completely lost and I barely even knew it. So page 86 in the big book tells us that the addict is like a tornado roaring their way through the lives of others. Hearts are broken, sweet relationships are dead, affections have been uprooted. Now, I am a 5'5", sweet, optimistic tornado who loves music, cooking, and long walks on the beach. Okay, this is the kind of tornado I have been in the past. And if you were a part of my life during that time, if you were in my life when I'm an untreated addict, and if you don't do everything exactly as I want you to do, and how I want you to do it, and when I want you to do it, and if you don't read my mind and save my life and pay my rent and give me the keys to your car, to your apartment, and solve my problems, then I will rip your heart out and eat you for breakfast and then blame it on you. Okay, this is what I did. And I didn't even really know there was anything wrong with it. So if you can relate to any of that, then we have a solution for you. Okay, so personally, all of this for me was masked in my desire and my presentation to help you take care of your life and make it better. I'm MarLa. I'm so nice. I'm so kind. I'm here for others. I'm an empath. And it was, well, frankly, it was a shit show. So it boils down to the fact that I make other people my higher power. And I insist that I am other people's higher power. So there's a lot of ego there. There's fear in delusion. And I didn't know that. I didn't know what my character defects were, obviously, until I started working this program and did the steps, and I got a lot of clarity and a lot of freedom. So I came into the room in December 2023. I went to the New Year's Eve workshop, the 12 steps in 4 hours. I heard somebody who sounded just like me, but she wasn't doing it anymore. I asked her to be my sponsor. We started working together. I took step 1. By the way, I came in here as a massive weed addict and I had no intention of stopping smoking marijuana. I thought I have a problem with men in my relationships, but the weed is fine. But I took step 1 and it relieved me of the desire to smoke and use cannabis. And I have been sober off of that ever since, which is a miracle. It wasn't even something I was asking for. So my life as a sponsor is incredible. It really is. It gives me so much purpose, meaning it also gives me structure. I am able to help other people, which is an important part of my life, but I have the workbook. I have the structure. I have the steps. That's all I'm doing. I'm a GSR. I chair meetings. I'm starting a new meeting soon, which I'd love to tell you more about later. And mostly, I have been restored to sanity. My career has improved. My finances have improved. My relationships have improved. And what can I say? I am lit up by this message. So now I want to get into the liar is trying to kill me. So let me break it down for you, okay? So there's a liar in my head. And if we want to listen to what the big book says, it says, be quick to see where religious people are right. Then this liar in my head, which is like the addiction part, well, according to like religious concepts, that's the idea of the enemy or evil or the devil. Okay, I grew up very scared of the devil, but I guess I had this idea that like cupboards were gonna like swing open and things would move in the room and like I'd like see a man with horns. But that is not how the liar presents. The liar presents as an idea, a thought in my head. Something like, Marla, you should send that text at 12 a.m. Yeah, you should let them know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Marla, you should go and get on Instagram right now and look up your ex-boyfriend. Marla, you should ask those people how they're doing, even though they said, please leave us alone. Okay, so these are the ways that the liar shows up for me. And if I have those thoughts, I have those ideas, it's going to lead to an action, which for me is getting involved in drama. Then I get into the tension. Then I get into the drinking. Then I get into the weed. The whole thing, I'm dead. Okay, the liar is trying to kill me. This is also a concept that, I've learned from Cameron, who wrote the workbook. I just want to acknowledge that I have a note in my workbook that says the liar always wins the argument. So this is my dilemma as an addict. I have no power to stop this liar until I pick up the steps, until I get a power greater than myself. So the reality is that we're in a life and death situation here as untreated addicts. Page 30, many pursue it into the gates of insanity or death. Page 66, to drink is to die. For me, that is to think is to die. To text my qualifiers is to die. To flirt with untreated addicts and then seduce them into a relationship and try to get them into sobriety is to die. Faith without works is dead. And I interpret that as if I don't take a recovered action that stands up with my faith, if my action and my faith is not aligned, then I am dead. Why? Because I'm in the grip of a progressive illness. And over any considerable period of time, I get worse, never better. The liar is a parasite inside of me, and it's trying to feed on the host and kill me. I need the treatment. I need this work. So now I'm going to get into a little bit more fun. I'm going to give us the top 5 ways that the liar is trying to kill me. I'm going to break this down, give us the lie and give us the solution. So here we go. Number 5, my own ideas. Yeah, this is how the liar is trying to kill me. I have this idea, and we hear about it in the book too. My interpretation of it, or my expression of it, is that if I get things my way, then I will be all right. If I get the job, the partner, the house, the right city, the car, the sugar, the weed, the cocaine, the hit, the fix, the look, the like, the text, my type, the right time, the good line, if I get everything perfectly in exactly the way I want it, then I will be fine. It's not even like I'll be great. Then I'll just be fine, okay? I will also be dead, or I will wish that I was dead because of the insanity of trying to manage all of that. I am dealing with unmanageability here, right? All that stress of trying to get that all right, I need relief. I need relief. I need to smoke a joint. I need to swipe and scroll for hours. I need to watch Netflix for 8 hours. I can't handle this, okay? Those are logs. So this liar concept, it's about the logs, the things, the easier, softer ways, okay? So if I believe that lie and I follow that through, then I'm dead. My spiritual life is dead. My sobriety is dead. I'm not useful. So what am I going to do? What's the truth here? I need to accept life on life's terms. I need to get with that. I am now about progress over perfection, that this is a lifelong process. This is not an overnight matter, MarLa. You can't get it all right today. And if I do these steps and if I share this message, then I get in contact. I stay in the zone, in the middle of the herd, as we say. And if I do those things, then my thought life, this is page 86, my thought life will be placed on a much higher plane. Okay, this is when my thinking is cleared of wrong motives. And the reality is, page 52, our ideas do not work, but the God idea does. So that's my perspective on that way of how the liar is trying to kill me. Number 4, how the liar is trying to kill me. You might even be able to see it in me right now. It's urgency. I am in a rush. So I drive in a rush. I text and drive, and I no longer do this because I started a day count, because that's deadly. And the book tells us that many addicts are enthusiasts. You could tell I am an enthusiast. And it says they run to extremes. Okay. It talks about how we either plunge ourselves into a frantic attempt to get our feet in business. This is after we've newly recovered, or we are so enthralled by our new life that we talk and think of nothing else. Okay, so my enthusiasm and my urgency can actually be a character defect because I have this fear behind it. The liar is telling me, you need to rush, you need to do this, you need to get this done. But there's a fear there. The fear that I'm going to run out of time. And behind that, there is a lie that if I get just enough time to do and say everything perfectly, then I will save the world. So behind all that is my delusion, the lie that I am God. Where does this lead me to? It leads me to burnout. What do I do when I'm in burnout? I pick up a substance or a person or something. And what happens? I die. Okay. I got to be very, very mindful of this because I can burn out on service. I can burn out on sponsees. So I have to consult my higher power. What do you want me to do? How do you want me to do it? Number 3, the third way the liar is trying to kill me. I just need willpower and self-control. I can manage this. Okay, this is a lie. The book talks about this. I'm going to put it in the context, the book says a man, and sometimes we say they. I'm just going to say a woman because I'm a woman. And you can change the text of the big book to relate to you. You can cross out words, whether it's the pronouns. You can put your own name in it. You can remove the word drinking and use the word thinking or texting or spending or earning or gambling or debting, whatever. So here's a quote, page 155. The woman agreed that no amount of willpower she might muster could stop her obsessive thinking for long. Okay, so I adapted that to relate to my problem. It continues to say a spiritual experience, she conceded, was absolutely necessary. So I will, I have, and I will make promises and resolutions that I will do better and I won't do this and I won't do that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is that I ask for help. God, please remove my defects of character. Remove my urgency, my arrogance, my egotism, my self-centeredness, my fear, because it stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. God, please strengthen my honesty, my humility, my love, my patience, my acceptance, my surrender so that I may better do your will. That's a step 7 prayer, right? And I'm praying that every day throughout the day. So I have to do that. I can't make myself be humble. If I did, I would have already done that. It also helps me in this context right now with this idea that if I have enough willpower and control, I can manage this. This is the lie that is trying to kill me. Some of the work that I can do to not let that lie convince me to do bizarre addict and codependent stuff is that it's quite practical thing here is that I make a list and I continue to do this because I continue to suffer if I don't have the solution. I make a list of what I'm powerless over in the moment. Okay, so I might make my list. I'm powerless over the traffic. I am powerless over what other people think and do. I am powerless over the group dynamics in a creative place where I want to be. I am powerless over like the state of the nation. But I can't just stay in that powerlessness. I need to get to step 2, like right away. I need to believe that there is a power greater than myself. I need to trust infinite God rather than my finite self. So that means that I trust a power instead of my own will. And then I just keep going on the steps. I make my decision. And my decision is that my life, my actions, my behaviors, my will, my thoughts and my feelings are now in the care of a power that is greater than myself, a power of my own understanding. And I need that care. Isn't that kind of what's going on here too? Is that we're trying to get care? So I have a place and a power where that care can happen. So then I just go from there. And that gets me out of the lie and into the solution. So that's how I sum up that lie when it comes to my self-will. I got to watch out for that one. And speaking of watching out, here comes my second reason, like how the liar is trying to kill me. There's this idea, this thought that I don't need to do a step 10 all the time. I just need to do a step 10 when I have a resentment and a fear I notice. People say, you need to do some step 10 work. You need to do some step 10 work. Well, let me say, I have to do step 10 work. And if you're on the podcast, you can't tell that I'm pointing my fingers at me. I need to do step 10 work every day. I need to have a really simple practice for this, or I'll burn out on doing step 10 work. So I use my Spiritual Toolkit app. I also use a series of questions related to the big book to answer these questions. And then I share those answers with a fellow who is my 10th step partner. And if there's a major thing I need to talk about, then I get on the phone and talk about it. Maybe with my 10th step partner, maybe with a fellow, maybe with my sponsor. But I'm not just laying that all on the same person all the time. My 10th step partner is a dream. We have a beautiful relationship. And we do a lot on text with 10th steps here. And it's just keeping my house clean. And it's also helping me see another person clean their house too. Okay, so the lie is that I don't need to do a 10th step all the time, only when I have a problem. If I have a good day, I don't need to do a 10th step. Well, I will die because the resentments are often unconscious for me, and then just backlog and backlog. The fear is unconscious, and then I need relief, and then I'm back in addiction. Okay, I think you get what I'm getting at here. So here we go. I'm at number one, but don't worry, I have a lot more to say. The number one way that the liar is trying to kill me, it's trying to tell me, MarLa, you don't need to sponsor. You're too busy. You do so much. Oh, let other people sponsor. You have sponsored, so you don't need a sponsee now. You don't need to talk to your sponsee on a regular basis. You need to wait for that sponsee to do what they said they were going to do. You don't need to sponsor. This is a lie. Hello, liar. I see you. I'm calling you out here in a room full of people and people on the podcast. It's a lie. And I'll tell you all, I believed in this lie. I had a guest visiting. So my friends came here on vacation, and I was hosting a big party for like a personal milestone I had, and we had all these plans. And I thought, I cannot sponsor and do all this at the same time. So I'm going to message everybody. This is a liar here. I'm going to message everybody and tell them, I have this great, wonderful thing going on in my life, and I'm not available for 10 days. And I told all my service commitments, I'm not available for 10 days. I'm MarLa and I need a break. Okay. And guess what happened? I picked up my drug of choice, an addict man. I picked him up and then I blamed it on him and I blew shit up. That's what happens when I don't sponsor. So, what's my solution there? Humility, acceptance, and gratitude. I'm so grateful that we have this workbook because it's not that hard to sponsor. I'm mostly listening to a sponsee read. I'm listening to what they say and I'm directing them back to the steps. And it gives me so much peace, sanity, purpose, love, joy, freedom. I'm reminded of, okay, yeah, these are the defects of characters that come up. Oh, yeah, this is the mixed up thinking. Okay. It has put the message in my head so it becomes a working part of our minds, like the book says. We come to rely upon it. And I do rely upon it. And it also, as a codependent person, sponsoring helps me overcome my codependency because I also do have to say, that's enough for today. Or I have a cold right now, so let's reschedule. I don't have to beat myself up and make myself do it perfectly, but I do have to do it. Okay, so if any of these lies sound familiar to you, then you belong here. If you're new and this sounds like shit you might do, then you belong here and we have a way out for you. I was very mixed up, and I'm not that mixed up anymore. I still have periods of time, and like the book says, we will experience these low spots and trials. These are meant to be workouts. So I'm here specializing in spiritual fitness for myself. I'm working these muscles so that I literally, my introduction said she works step 10, 11, 12, and that encompasses all of the steps for me. I'm admitting powerlessness. I'm powerless over this talk today. I'm powerless over it. And Justin's prayer at the beginning, the set aside prayer, was exactly what I need. And I did my own step 7 before this meeting, because I know that my liar wants to sneak in here and do sneaky shit too. So the real thing I want to get at here is the psychic change. The psychic change that's talked about in the doctor's opinion, that we are now operating on this totally different level, so that the woman who I used to be for 2 years ago, she's dead, actually. She's dead. And this new woman, this woman who I really wanted to know, who I really wanted to find out who does God, the creator of the universe, this awesome, powerful, loving force, who does it want MarLa to be? Because the person who MarLa wanted herself to be was really sick. Really sick. And I just have a few more moments here before we get into the questions, which I'm very excited to get to. I would love to have anybody ask a question. But I just also want to clarify, like, it's very easy for us to understand how cocaine or heroin or alcohol, like substances, can cause death. It's like, oh, you overdose and you die. It's like very straightforward for, like, especially for new folks coming in or people who are listening, trying to figure out, like, do I have a sex and love addiction? I'm not one of those like sex and love freaks, right? But the reality is that sex and love addiction and codependency is deadly. And I'll just take these last few minutes to tell me how it nearly killed me, and to express my gratitude that it did not kill me, because it humbled me and helped me get here. In terms of codependency, it's really simple. How I almost died twice. It's that my super nice, loving, normal, well-meaning friends were coming to visit me. I was living in Los Angeles and they were coming for a trip, and I was sick. I had a sore throat, and I wanted to pretend I didn't have strep throat. Good try, liar. Okay, so I said, come up for the vacation. I'll be fine. I'll take some Advil. I'll be fine. So my friends came and I pretended I was fine. I was massively codependent, minimizing. And then they went home, and then I thought, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Ginger will fix this. Vitamins will fix this. Lie, 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 lie. I had strep throat. By the time I got to the doctor, I was in septic shock and I needed a blood transfusion. And I spent 12 days in the ICU. My lungs filled with fluid. It took me 6 weeks to recover. I practically had to learn how to walk again. Why? Because I didn't want to disappoint people. That is deadly. That is deadly. And I just have 1 minute here, and I'm obsessed with doing things perfectly and ending exactly on time. So that experience of being sick, and then honest to God, I had stage 3 cancer about like 8 years after that. Those sicknesses didn't make me sober, I will say. They didn't. They humbled me. What helped me get here was acknowledging that I had a problem. And a part of that, I think, was also God was doing something. I needed to suffer in those ways in the hospital and as a cancer survivor to get experience so that I can help people in those situations too. So although my life was difficult and I have caused harm, I do see how God has been there the whole time. And I'm really grateful that now I get a very systematic way of working these steps and staying in the solution. Thank you so much.
Got questions about addiction, recovery, or just life in general? Let's noodle it out together. Grab your big book, a pen, a highlighter, and a notepad, and join Nikki M and me, Justin B, on Rico 12 Noodle It Out with Nikki M. Each episode, we take real-life questions, ours, yours, and those from the recovery community, and dig deep into the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous to find real, practical solutions. So, if you're ready to do the work and apply the solution, tune in to Noodle It Out with Nikki M, streaming now on your favorite podcast platform. Look at that, right at the finish line. That was amazing. MarLa, thank you so much for that share, for diving deep into there. And really, I think you explained the deadliness of process addictions as well as anybody I've ever heard. And I appreciate you doing that. You know, sometimes we say, you know what, it's just a sex and love addiction. It's just, you know, debt. It's just, you know, whatever it may be. It's not going to kill you. Well, sometimes it will, right? All right. So I've got several questions here that I've written down. And for our live audience here, if you have a question for MarLa, please type it in the chat. If you'd like to remain anonymous, message me directly in the chat, or at the beginning of your question, say anonymous, please, and I won't read your first name. Otherwise, I will read your first name. So be warned. MarLa, talk a little bit about, I want to go back to this what you said, hey, I'm going to try and control this at the beginning. We're not a glum lot. Let's jump into that. Talk to me about how you make recovery fun. How is it fun to be sober?
Yeah. Thanks for putting down or picking up what I put down rather. So I learned this from other fellows. Right. And so I'm a member of Spiritual Gangsters. It's not the only meetings I go to, but and I came in through the workshop, which is, by the way, happening on October 26th. And that's the Halloween edition. Okay. So in this workshop, like I learned this, that we can use videos, we can use music, we can use comedy, we can even like insult each other and have some fun and like keep it light and admit like how nuts we are. So how do I practically keep it fun is that I do service in a fun way. So on Friday nights at a meeting called Take Away My Difficulties, I'm the DJ. So I do a DJ set from 11 p.m. until 11:30 p.m. Somebody asked me, one of the service members was like, MarLa, can you be the DJ? And I thought, I don't know. And it has like increased my musical knowledge, my musical ability. It's so much fun. It's given me something to do on a Friday night, right? And then the next meeting after that on a Friday night, sometimes I chair that meeting. It's the TGIF Midnight Rounders, and I do another 30-minute set of music. And the music is really fun as a tool in recovery, not a solution, but as a tool, because there's so much addiction in music. It's like we're truly crazy in the music songs, right? And so one other little trick I like to use in terms of music and recovery is that every friggin' song is a love song, right? I'm a sex and love addict. I'm gonna crack up on this. So all those love songs are between me and my higher power. I can't live without you. You know, I need you or I'm gonna die. Like, let's make this work. You know, like it's all me and God. So that's some ways I have fun. And then I'll also say I'm now, like, I teach on the 12 steps in 4 hours workshop, which is a miracle. I came in there, I was like, how are these people even doing this? And now I get to be one of those people. So that is the way I have fun. And also just laughing with my sponsees. If it's getting too serious, then like, let's just lighten up and laugh, because to a certain degree, so long as it's not just like all harm that we're causing, you know, it's kind of funny, the thinking that we get into, especially when we call out the liar and like say, I see you. And I use voices too. Like if my thinking is crazy, I do voices alone in my house. So I can really identify that's not authentic me. You know, it's a crazy maker in there. So those are some of the ways. Thanks, Justin.
I love that. And I love those voices that you say you do. And calling it out, I think, you know, with a sponsee or somebody that I'm talking with fellowship wise, I think that's so powerful. And like you said, you know what? I very rarely when I call out the liar or when the liar's been called out on me, don't laugh. I almost always laugh when it happens, you know. It's so funny. Well, good. So we've got several questions that have come in from our live audience. We'll start at the top here. David has a question for you about sex and love addiction. How do you define sobriety in sex and love addiction? And I know that there are several S fellowships, and each one defines sobriety a little bit differently. But how do you define it?
Yeah, I think I'm going to cut right to the point on that one. For me, it's one of the main things is not getting sexually involved with people who I don't have a committed partnership with. That's kind of answers like the direct sex question. And then there are other things as well in there. So for me, the sobriety is noticing. Let me put this together here because I don't totally have it formed, but it's noticing when the phenomenon of craving is triggered for me, and then doing a different action instead. So if I want to flirt with somebody who I know is an active cocaine addict or is an active alcoholic, like that's my drug of choice, right? It's like get involved with like really sick people. If I want to flirt with them, I know I'm about to lose my sobriety, really. And if I start flirting with them, then I'm losing my sobriety. And if I spend private time with them, like one-on-one, then I have really, like, I'm very close. But for me, the real loss of sobriety does come from like, kissing, and et cetera, I shall say. If I'm not in a committed partnership, I have a sober dating plan. I did the workshop through SLAA virtual. You can buy the workshop for 99 cents a workshop, and I'm doing that work. I also have a different dating plan. I haven't started dating yet. So that's some of my commentary on it's a committed partnership for me in terms of the sobriety. Thanks for asking. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Marla. I really appreciate that, and I love how you dove into that and you were able to really define that pretty clearly. That's great. Thank you. All right, next question comes from Renee, and this is a very interesting question. Let's see what your take is on it. How did you stop the addiction to using the phone while driving? I'm a truck driver, and I have trouble with this because of isolation. I know I'm safe, but I could lose my job, and yet my crazy self keeps using it. Thanks for your service.
You are not alone, Renee. This is a powerful addiction. So, some of the work I did around that was admitting my character defects, namely selfishness. Is very selfish for me to be texting and driving because I'm putting other people at harm. Also putting myself at harm. And it'll be real sad for my family if after everything I survived, I died because I'm texting and driving. So first I admit the selfishness. I think there's also fear at play for me in that one because I have this fear that I need to respond to everybody right away because I want to save the world. So doing an inventory on it, really, just to see like what's at play there. And it's a harm inventory, right? So then when I do that, then I prayed to my higher power to remove those defects of characters, step 7 prayer, right? And to strengthen these character assets. So I did that. Then I gave myself a day count. I said, I am just not going to text and drive today. Okay. And that I get a lot of, I do get a lot of momentum on a day count. I'm like a streaks kind of person. Another thing was that I had to take more time for myself because part of the problem for me is that I wasn't like uploading my music properly before I got in the car, or I didn't have my map worked out. So it was a time management issue for me as well. So when I get in my car, I take a few minutes to set up my system, and then I'm ready to, and then I put the phone away, and then it can't be within hand's reach for me because it's a compulsion that I have. I will admit that I've only ever gotten to a 5-day day count, and then I have to restart because I will at some point the phone will ring or something will happen, or I'll think I know I really do need to do that. So it's really serious, and it's improving for me, and it's a work in progress. So those are some of my answers on that. Thanks for a great question.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Marlon. Appreciate your honesty and vulnerability with that. Next question comes from Roz. Now, Roz, I'm going to summarize a few things here. Roz has been in has many process addictions, been sober for 11 years, and now is doing some relocating and having all sorts of issues with that. But and she's having a hard time with dealing with some of the issues that she has. But she feels she's too old to heal. She says, "Help me know it's possible to heal this late in life." Talk to me about your experience with that.
Um, yeah, do I have experience with this? Well, I mean, it makes me think of the big book first, which is job or no job, wife or no wife, old or not old. I mean, I don't know about the term old, but you see what I'm getting at. Like we can recover. We can recover. So I am very curious in this topic because I don't know if the too old to heal is like, does that manifest as it's hard for me to keep track of my papers and print things? And is it a character defect that we don't want to take direction from other people because we're older and so in some level we think we know better? Is it a physiological thing where like we have these patterns laid so firmly? Whatever those things are, it's unmanageable. So this idea that we're too old to heal, it's an unmanageable idea. We have no power over our age, and we also have no power over our ability to heal. The only thing we have is a decision to turn our life and our will over to the care of God and ask for help. Right. And I hope none of that's coming off too harsh there. Because I'm no mean to be harsh. I'm helping people who are older. So I have sponsees in their 60s. I have a sponsee in their 70s. My sponsor is 77 years old. Um, and so I understand the feeling of feeling too old to heal, but it's giving me liar vibes. I'll say that. It's giving me liar vibes. And ask for a sponsor. Maybe you already have one. I don't know. But hey, I'll put my number in the chat too. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Marla. And I also work with people who have been well into their 80s who are healing, who are experiencing the miracles of recovery, and it's a beautiful thing to have happen. I personally am one who um, believes in that chapter 5 lead in that we believe that everybody can, except for those who are incapable of being honest with themselves, and this is really, really powerful things. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Next question from our live audience comes from Laura, and this goes along with the question I was going to ask you. So I'm going to mix these two. This person, Laura, says, "Thank you so much, Marla. That was amazing, humbling, and inspiring. What suggestions do you have for how to maintain awareness, conscious contact, and rigorous honesty in working the program?" And my side of that question was going to be, you talked about working step 10, whether or not you wanted to. How do you go about identifying that the fear, the dishonesty, the resentment, the selfishness before they really manifest themselves in working these things? Hey, Spearheads, if you're looking to dive deeper into the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous with people who live the solution, then you won't want to miss Rico 12 Big Book Roundtable. Join David G., Nikki M., and me, the moderator Justin B., 3 recovered addicts from multiple fellowships, as we break down the big book line by line. In each 30-minute episode, we share our experience, strength, and hope in a real, raw, and practical roundtable discussion. So, if you are ready to learn and apply what you learn, tune in to Rico 12 Big Book Roundtable on your favorite podcast platform.
Thank you for this great question, Laura. It reminds me this question. So what suggestions do you have how to maintain awareness? Part of my recovery is about becoming able to identify what is my authentic need. So it's can often be about the need because the liar wants to make me think all kinds of weird things that are my need. So how do I maintain the awareness? I have to notice a lot. We know that's what awareness is about, right? But I have to notice when I'm rushing or forcing or begging or beseeching or lying. But I also have to notice how my body feels, because a lot of my needs kind of just boil down to the really simple things, right? Like eating, sleeping, having healthy contact with people, getting exercise. I wish it wasn't that simple. I honestly wish it was like, you got to do all this stuff, but it's like, I need to eat a sandwich and take a nap. So having that like really simple baseline of awareness, I think when I have those needs in place, it's easier for me to make conscious contact. It's easier for me to want to love and praise the goodness of my creator. And so a lot of my conscious contact is thank you. Thank you for helping me get together this talk today. Thank you for helping me get to the meeting. Thank you for taking care of all these things that I don't even know what they are or how they work or what the hell's going on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm heavy into gratitude and praise. I have a gratitude list that I share every day with a fellow. Rigorous honesty in working the program. That's the last part of the question. I think outreach really helps me because other people can hear my liar sometimes better than I can. And also when I listen to other people, I can hear their liar. And when I can hear somebody else's liar, it's like usually God has set me up so that I can like recognize my own liar. So healthy contact in the fellowship really helps my rigorous honesty. It makes me be accountable to people. Rigorous. I love that word, rigorous honesty. You know, we're not just going for honesty. It's like it takes like vim and vigor, right? And I get that actually through the conscious contact. God really wants me to be the person God created me to be, not like a self-willed, codependent nincompoop. So great question. Thank you.
Yeah, and I love that you brought the word vim in. Such a great word. Good. So MarLa, I just posted in the chat an anonymous question that came in through direct messaging, and I got to be honest, I don't remember this phrase. Maybe you do. The question is: you mentioned that this is meant to be a workout. Where in the big book do you find that? Where do you find that truth? Yeah.
Thank you so much for this question. Okay, so I just searched it up in the big book, and I was able to search it that fast in the big book while you were talking because I have a little pro tip that I'll share in a moment. But first, let me get to this. On page 117, so we're in the chapter 2 Wives, it says, these workouts should be regarded as a part of your education, for thus you will be learning to live. You will make mistakes, but if you are in earnest, they will not drag you down. Instead, you will capitalize on them. A better way of life will emerge when they are overcome. Let me drop that in the chat, page 117. Can I take just a quick moment then, Justin, to explain how I got to that quote so quickly?
Absolutely.
Okay, so here's a little pro tip, and not that I'm a pro, but maybe I am, and I am only a pro because I do a lot of service. So here's a link to free access to a big book. Let me just type something else in here. Command F. Okay. So I'm a big book quoter. That means that in a lot of meetings, I've learned how to listen to people talking. When they say a part of the big book, I search this PDF document online. How do I do that? I use this link, which I put in the chat. You open it up. Just stay in the website. You don't need to download it or anything. Save that bookmark, by the way, because you're going to need it. When I'm in there, I hit Command F on my computer, right? Command the letter F, a search menu drops down. I type in any word I want. So I just typed in work-outs because I knew that's how it was phrased in the book. And it gives me the page number. I go right to it. Okay. So this is great. Like, let's say you're dealing with shame. It's like, what does the big book say about shame? Put in shame. 50 examples of shame. Okay. What does it say about sex? Here's sex. What does it say about my thoughts? Here's where in the big book it says the word thought 153 times. So this skill of being able to use the book in that way has improved my own recovery and has helped my sponsees. This is one of the ways that I have fun. I'm like a big book nerd now. When at first I hated it. So that's a little bit what I have to say about that. Thank you. Can I search as quickly on a phone? I just want to reply to that. I don't think you can. But the other quick link, so sorry, I'm into like tech stuff in a way, is this other link I'll drop there, which is the 164 and more. This one you can search in your phone, but you can't copy from this other link. And you might not need to copy. If you're big book quoting, you do need to copy for your own resources. You can just use 164andmore.com on your phone, search bar in the top right corner. Thank you.
Yeah, and I was actually going to bring that resource in for when I saw that question about the phone. You jumped in. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. That 164 and more resource is fantastic also. Excellent. So let me ask you, I love how you took those top 5 ways the liar is trying to kill me. The 5th one was my own ideas. That was number 5. How do you differentiate the voice of the liar from the voice of higher power or from the voice of best, MarLa?
I feel like I get this question a lot because we're all trying to figure out like, what's my will? What's God's will? Super simple. Our workbook talks about this. It's not directly from the big book. It's originally from the Oxford group, right? It's the self-will test, also known as the 4 absolutes. I'm so grateful I've been taught this information. So here it is. If I have a voice in my head or an idea, I ask myself these 4 questions. It has to be all 4 of these things. Is it honest? Is it pure? Is it unselfish? Is it loving? If it's those things, and I get like a little intuitive hit, you can get kind of like a quick yes or no when you develop that after a while. If it's those things, the acronym is HUPPLE. We say to ourselves, am I being HUPPLE? Then that's God's will. Okay. But it's the liar. It's self-will. If it is dishonest, by the way, includes minimizing your own needs. It includes saying yes when you really mean no. So is it dishonest? Is it resentful? Ooh. Is it fearful? And is it selfish? So it takes time to work that out in your own system to get the flavor of what is it? What is it? What does this mean for me? What is pure? It means I don't have any ulterior motives. But, we all come to understand that literally in our bodies, in our own way. So I can't teach you how to feel it in your body, but I can recommend that you practice that simple test and you just do it on a regular basis. And then, like it says in the big book, like we come to rely upon it, starts to be a working part of the mind. Thank you so much. I can post those things in the chat. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. And the fourth of those was willpower and self-control. I got this. That's the phrase in my mind. Oh, I got this. And that's when a big red flag jumps up in my head like, oh, do I really have this? Probably not. But what I'd like to ask you about this is, on page 88, it talks about thy will be done, living in that attitude. We are then in much less danger of excitement. And, this urgency, this being in a rush, this enthusiasm, when I first read or heard that from the big book, we're much less danger of excitement. Isn't excitement a good thing? Talk to us a little bit about what that word means in context of what we're talking about here.
What a great question. And I just want to say about the last answer, I'll put that in the chat in a moment because I just want to be present for the question. That really hit me, that line in the book. Will be in much less danger of excitement. Okay, so this is how I've come to learn what this is. For me, it's like I'm a very excited and excitable person. I don't drink caffeine. Otherwise, like I'm literally like on like a Coke bender if I have like a caffeinated coffee. So what it means for me is that my excitement can cause me to be impulsive. It creates urgency. For me, it's a little bit of mania. I don't have a bipolar disorder, but it does run in my family. I'm not prone to depression, but I'm a little bit more on the mania side of life. So, excitement it's like hopped up self-will sometimes because my excitement manifests as, I even have it right now. I have it right now. Somebody says, can you put that in the chat? I'm like, yeah, I can put that in the chat right away. Oh my God, I'm so excited about the solution. Let's get it in there. And what do? Then I miss the next question. Then I miss the whole moment. And I will miss a lot if I'm really excited. I will also like steamroll over what other people may think or want. And I will burn myself out. I like kind of work in the field of excitement, I must say, in terms of some of the work I do, it is like related to excitement. So I need to be grounded and I need to pause. And it makes my job and the work that I do with people, like activating joy, so much better because excitement can get into frantic or frenetic energy and like mania, like I said. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Marla. We need to start wrapping up here, but I want to ask you this one more question that just came in from Renee. Do you have any advice on earning potential? What's your experience on that? Because you talk about debtors and under earning, overspending.
I am so glad that there's a question because I didn't say much about Debtors Anonymous because I was only able to get to the program after I resolved or start working on a lot of the other issues. So advice on earning potential. Well, my advice is to go to a DA meeting. We have an excellent DA meeting that I do some DJing at on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. EST. I'll drop a meetings in here, a link to the meetings. But earning potential. So in DA, we go to PRGs, pressure relief groups, and that's when we meet with 2 other people who help look over our finances with us. How scary is this? But the whole point of it is to connect with our higher power. And it also makes me be responsible because I track all of my spending and all of my earning. I was a very avoidant person in this area. And now I'm very engaged and I have increased my earnings this year quite a bit by being in DA because I also learned through DA that I don't have to spend all of my money on my debt right away. So earning potential, it's about the higher power as well. Asking the question, God, what do you want me to do? Thank you.
Hey, Rico 12 Spearheads. If our recovery resources have helped you, please consider a donation. Your financial support, as well as your word of mouth support, keeps Rico 12 running and reaching the man who is still sick. Donate today at rico12.com/support or check the show notes for PayPal and Venmo links. Every contribution helps carry the message. Thanks for being a Rico 12 Spearhead. Beautiful. Thank you, Marla. Do you have any final words of wisdom before we close this out?
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Oh, I think somebody is pairing over there. Yeah, we'll just mute them maybe. Can you mute that iPhone over there for us? You have that power, just?
Yes, I do. I'll get it muted.
Great. Thank you so much. Okay, my final thoughts. My final thoughts are if you don't know what you're doing and you're new here, come to the workshop on October 26th. You can also see me dressed up as Lois Wilson, the OG codependent woman. My other thought is that we are serious about our recovery, which means that we work our steps every day. But we don't have to take everything so seriously that if you don't have joy, you are not alone. And we can ask our higher power to remove our suffering, our confusion, our self-pity, our obsession, our delusion. And one of the things we can ask for is presence and joy. And it's not a big book thing, but for me, joy is a really big factor in resilience. So that's what I'd like to end on. And I'm going to put some information in the chat. Thank you so much.
Very good. Thank you so much, MarLa, for this amazing RICO 12 speaker meeting. You did a great job sharing your experience, strength, and hope. So grateful for it. If we missed your question or you have other questions, please consider joining our WhatsApp group and ask those questions. Let's have a conversation about these things. I've put links to how you can join that here in the chat, and they are also in the show notes of the podcast. If you haven't yet done so, please consider rating and reviewing the podcast on Apple Podcasts and or Spotify. Follow along, subscribe. So if you aren't able to be here live, listen to the recording and podcast platform. It's a powerful way to work your step 12 and share recovery with others. Next week, we'll have another speaker. I'm still out there looking for speakers to fill some of the meetings for the rest of 2025. I have several that are scheduled, but not every week. So once again, if your higher power is putting a topic on your heart, let me know. We'll get you scheduled. All right, MarLa, why don't you take us out with a prayer of your choosing, whatever prayer you would like.
Oh, thank you so much. I didn't prepare a prayer, but I already said the step 7 prayer. So just let me bring one up here because I really do want to pray the prayer of St. Francis. And I just have it written down here. One moment. Higher power, make us a channel of your peace, that where there is hatred, we may bring love, that where there is wrong, we may bring the spirit of forgiveness, that where there is discord, we may bring harmony, that where there is error, we may bring truth, that where there is doubt, we may bring faith, that where there is despair, we may bring hope, that where there are shadows, we may bring light, that where there is sadness, we may bring joy. Creator, grant that we may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted, to understand than to be understood, to love than to be loved. For it is by self-forgiving that one finds. It is by forgiving that one is forgiven. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Remember, everybody, there is one that has all power. That one is God. May you find God now. Keep coming back, and when you do, come all the way in, sit all the way down. Let's trudge this road of happy destiny together. Work it. You are worth it.
There was a man put his hand by the side of his mouth, and he wanted to scream, but the sound never came out. So he reached for the bottle to wash the pain away, 'cause what he wanted so badly was to live a different way. And all of his problems and all of his pain filled up the bottle and rose with the rain. His ship kept on sinking to the bottom of the lake, and he knew for certain that he was just a fake, just a fake. Was a man put his hand by the side of his mouth, and he wanted to share, but only lies ever came out. So he reached for the needle to numb the pain inside, and the truth that he yearned for shriveled up and died. And all of his problems and all of his pain filled up the puddle of the lake. He knew for certain that he was just a fake, just a fake. Side of his mouth as he read from the book, only truth spilled out. So he reached for a power to help him through the night. 'Cause what lives